filmed from a secret location deep in Vansar territory. It's Rezic Battle Bunker News with your hosts, Birdie and Rob.
Hello! Welcome to RBBN Episode 2, where we'll catch you up with all the games of Hive Rezic, the Necromunda Campaign.
Yeah, so, Rob, it's the second episode of Rezic Battle Bunker News. New episode, new logo.
Yeah.
One day, hopefully, a new soundtrack.
Yeah. One, maybe the Gladiator thing will get snuck on there somewhere.
I wish. Coming to a Fiverr request.
Yes. Most importantly, new games to review.
Exactly. It's round 2, and Game 6 has been fully recorded. It's a match between Rob and Nick. No spoilers. If you want to go watch that now, or think, oh, I get to do that point, you think, where you can go, like, here or here, up in the corner somewhere, you can go,
right here.
right here.
I think I should go and watch it, because Steve's been doing all the editing of all the missed hits, and has got the runtime from 4 hours down to about an hour. So, well done you.
I know there's a real cool point where you can see Rob's soul leave his body.
Yes. It's true.
And by the way, if you're like, oh, I don't want to watch those two noobs, I want to see some superior tactical play, there is also episode 1 where I take on, and I think it's, spoilers. I want to tell you if you've not seen it, but I think you'll find out, I don't know, should I have spoilers in this? Because we're reporting on the
we're going to review them to a point, aren't we?
We're reviewing the matches that happen. If you don't see it now, in these next 5 seconds, if you don't click now,
you have been warned.
Yeah, I kicked Darren's ass nudge. No, I'm the only one to beat Darren, barely, but by him losing all his I think it was cool checks. I had one person, he had 2, and they were just like desperately holding on, and he just found his cool checks, and I don't think he has that bad a call anyway, so I was very lucky, but I should be humble.
I often find that you either get a gang that's very happy to leave, the writing's on the wall, and they say, I'm going now, or it's to the bitter end. Yeah, first a reminder of where all the gangs stood at the end of round 1. Since it's early doors, there's nothing critical here, but as the map starts to fill up and implications for the second half of the campaign will start to become clearer.
Yeah, players are still scouting at this point. The map hasn't been fully revealed. This also means that the ancient water purifier, the really most important territory on the map, is not able to be claimed. So this will end at some point soon, and I think that will be by the time we get to round 3, everything will be revealed.
Yeah. Let's not forget the Iron Blood Kings. Nick's House, all up gang, starts atop the ratings chart. Ratings are the combined strength of a gang's entire roster of characters.
If we take a look at them, we can see that Rob didn't really have a good round 1 there, did you, Rob?
No.
Let's see round 2 if you had a better go of it. One quick question, Rob.
What's that?
that was so fluid and natural. Can you say hello to my little friend? So what is it? Game 6.
Game 6, yeah. So Nick challenging me via a gas harvest over territory 15.
Let's say, Rob, you were coming from this end, and then we had Nick this side. And the main feature is this big courtyard.
Courtyard in the middle, and there was, sort of trellising or, walkways and towers and things like that. Kind of all around it, with a big kind of base here, which is where Nick kind of had a sort of sniper outpost.
Most of the action, because you've had like a fair few. So it was a gas harvest. You had like the gas in like all these like different places. Some easier to reach than others. I think there was 4 overall.
The ones I definitely remember. The one here we never got to. And all the others were attempted by myself. I might have.
Well, yeah, you basically, what you wanted to do, you came in very quickly and tried to claim this York courtyard and get these 2.
Yeah. And
it was sort of like, you had the numbers. Nick only had, 4 or 5?
He didn't have very many. I had the numbers and I also had the maneuverability as well.
He came in and sort of got like,
he tried to break, there was a door here, which he tried desperately to break through, and after a few rounds...
wrong. Because every time you have an extra person next to your door, you had like a +1, and he kept rolling 6s. So I did challenge him on it, not because I was being an idiot, but it's like because I was unsure. Nick's normally like a fortitude of rules knowledge, so he sort of like gave up on this thought and sort of like then started to spread himself out. There's like one or two guys up here, and he tried to sort of like come around, but he just didn't have the numbers really.
To be honest, he kind of didn't really have a flank to focus on. So the first round, I used my grav shoot and my the thing allows me
Surfer
to
fellas.
yeah, surfer dude. I surfer dude had one. I managed to fly up because this gust here was on a walkway, so I was able to fly him up there pretty quick and attempt to get it. It was failed, and he lost his mind and was then controlled by Nick, who flew him straight into the snake pit that was his guys. So that went very, very well for me.
I think what really worked for you in this match is when you sort of you've got enough gas and you were ahead. You were going to sort of like win the match, but you really just needed to sort of like just get Nick out of the match just to stop it.
It was just downing guys, and the thing is, I was some of it I was claiming gas, and some of it I wasn't. You know, and it was really tough, like taking the risk on the gas.
Yeah. But you got it, and he had none, so you're going to win. But it was just like get out the match, get out the game, and it's when you made this push down here, and even though it was a bit of a gamble, and you came up these stairs and you just pushed, and he only had two fellas, and it was sort of like you were nothing special. So
well, I needed to get rid of them because in this courtyard here, which is where the bulk of my forces were, they would have lost the war of attrition eventually because he had better shots. With less modifiers than my guys shooting back up because he had clear shots against most of my guys, and my guys were at least returning fire with a -1 or even a -2 modifier. So I knew I needed to push round, and it was just. I mean, if you go and watch the match, you'll see just how irregularly Nick and I actually managed to hit and wound each other. So it really was a long slog of not very much action.
I only started to record the stats after I'd done the initial cut. So I cut the game down from like 4 hours to 1, and that's where the point where I actually started counting all the shots. But that's why I didn't. There's no like. That's why I made sure I didn't cut any hits. So all the hits are present in that match. It's just all the failed hits aren't. So I couldn't go. Here's a percentage hit ratio.
So eventually it was victory for myself. Very pleased with. Managed to get my first victory. As I say, which was good, coming off the back of what I felt was two probably losing fights to start with against Darren and Martin for various reasons. Darren's very difficult to hit. For my guys, the bulk of my guys are very poor willpower, and Darren's got scary masks, so hard to hit. And Martin just very tough and hard to wound. Going against Nick and going against yourself, Steve, at least it's a gang I feel I can go toe to toe with. 50-50 either way, but just managed to do kind of enough to overwhelm enough of Nick's guys to cause the bottle and claim the victory. So.
Right, so over to game 7. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to run through this pretty quickly because I believe, and I'm not even going to put terrain down. Martin starts from this side. He's a close combat gang in terms of he has Goliath, very big, very strong, very tough, very scary. And I start on this side, and my plan is to run away. Well, run away and keep shooting. And so what I do, I spread my gang out, and I put an infiltrator down on this side. And lucky for me, Martin puts this whole gang in one big corner. I'm able to shoot into his gang quite easily with my long rifle. These guys down here and here, and they're able to get shots off. And they're like, one guy gets wounded, and it like causes they have knockback as well. So I'm like, shoot the guy, puts him into another guy, causes him to fall over, and it's causing chaos. And Martin gets very worried, but he makes a slow march towards me of death. And I have my guys trying to run away and come down, and just one gets caught as I'm running down this way, and he's coming after me. One gets caught by a grenade launcher. And that's it. I start to roll bottle rolls. I was like, you have...
First bottle roll?
It was my first bottle roll. It's like, don't roll a 6, roll a 6. And I start losing my team. I get a couple of rounds in. There's a bit of fighting, and it's like, gets his guys down here a bit, and there's a bit of shooting, and it's just like, it's over. Yeah. I had a really tough match 1 against Darren, and a good part of my gang was injured, and that meant that I just haven't had the numbers to have the stamina in a fight and to go and take Martin on. But I'm looking forward to a rematch. I am challenging Martin, and I hope to
avenge
myself. Yeah.
Game 7 ends with a victory for Martin. So this is the prelude to Game 8. So it's myself, Rob, challenging Birdie via Forgotten Riches over Territory 20, which was something that my Van Sars really, really wanted to obtain, the Archaeotech device.
And I was a bit like, I don't want Rob to have it.
Well, who would want me to have it? You don't want the gang getting the territory that is specifically good to their gang. I think that's a fair rule to get.
Yeah.
So this was again one I was looking forward to. Hadn't played Birdie, but it felt like a gang that could be beaten. And I guess we'll talk through.
That's a shame. I want to be terrible.
Of course you do. But there's always, you've don't get me wrong. It's certainly a fight. It's not something that's just going to fall my way. But yeah, this was one that I thought, okay, this is my challenge for the territory that I wanted, and I picked a scenario that would give me, the Van Sars, specifically what they need to make them stand out a little bit. Money. Van Sars aren't particularly tough in any particular way, but they have good stuff. But good stuff is pricey.
And it was a Forgotten Riches match, which is a Zone Mortalis?
Zone Mortalis, yeah.
Which is the 2D tiles, so therefore it's kind of like you either get you can't see somewhere.
Level playing, an awful lot of blocking stuff, corridors, fighting in corridors, essentially.
Yeah.
So select tile placement. So you place, your opponent places, etc., and you build up this map. And then you kind of select zones to deploy in. So I kind of deployed in this north sector, and Steve started in the west. So starting off, an extremely good start for me. Had a bulk of my forces go from north down to west, and the main bulk of my force goes straight into the central corridor. Again, to assert dominance of that central region and to claim loot that was there. First round for me went very, very well. Was able to pick off one or two of your guys at least.
I tried to assert dominance as well. I tried to sort of run out and then very quickly realised that was a bad idea, and either guys got shot or run back, and so I was like, well, let's use this corridor down here.
But it was a little bit of a false dawn for me, really, because it made me feel a bit cocky, I suppose, and I probably pushed in a little bit too quickly. The forces that were coming north down to west on that side there were, the bulk of that force was made up of unnamed Jews that I had a helpful card at the beginning. So even though Steve managed to start picking them off, I wasn't overly worried, except for the fact that they now started to contribute to numbers for bottling. Didn't also help. The bulk of my forces in the middle were sort of held up very well by Birdie taking some very good defensive positions. Managed to always seem to gain some good cover behind corridors, blockades.
Yeah, I had this guy with a lot of armour, like maybe 3+ armour or something like
Nactgul.
Yeah, Nactgul, and he was taking a lot of attention, a lot of fire. He had multiple wounds as well, and you were just concentrating on him. You really wanted him out of the game. He's like a close combat master. He is like a hot knife through butter of Van Sars. And naturally, you want him dead. But he could take him out. I think you very much did in the end. But what that gave me was time. It gave me time to get my guys around here and get some loot and come back. And it gave me some time to get some guys like a long rifle back in this position here and fire on you. And my leader to come back here and deal with these guys and get rid of them and then push on this way. And because you were in a big blob, I was able to cause morale tests. So, because your guys were so close to each other, because this was a big open area. In here, it was like there's hardly any cover apart from a few little bits that there were existing in the middle here. There was like some doors and you could go around, but if you got that centre ground, you own the map. And Rob was owning the map and making me punished for it. But then I was able to sort of return fire and, like I said,
more successfully.
Yeah, and it was less the damage I was doing to you, more the morale damage by causing you to.
Well, then stops having available fighters for the next round if they're broken and such, and that's that's very, very damaging. So mid game, it got to the point where it was teetering one way or the other. I don't know if we were both bottling at that point, but we both had some damage. We both had some riches. We both had loot at that point.
Could have gone either way at some point. Just a little bit more luck one person's way, and it could have been a completely different match. But it was hard fought, and I think it's a shame actually. Wish we could have filmed this. I mean, hindsight, that's the word. I had hindsight of what mission was going to be good to film.
Yeah, there's two very closely matched gangs in different ways, but also having power in different ways as well. It was a good contest, and it got to the point where it came to the decision of whether I wanted to go or not, and my gang was in a pretty bad state. Going at that point, I had a few people that I couldn't control, some people down, a couple of people out of action, but I also had some riches. Now I knew losing the architect device was not ideal, but I had some loot at this point, and I just decided that I thought I'll cut my losses at this point, take the money and run. Basically,
fair enough. Yeah, it is a campaign game, not just one single battle. So matches do count, and losses do count, and how you come away from a match is sometimes more important than how the match went. So yeah, fair play. I got the win. I got the architect device, and barely used it so far, but we'll see. So let's move on to
game number 9, whilst my glamorous assistant sets the board up again. So this is it Nick challenging Darren on this one?
Right, so basically we have a round robin system.
This is the asterisk game.
This is the asterisk game, where basically it's really simple. I think it's a really simple system. If I challenge someone, I can't challenge them again until we've all played.
Until you challenged everyone else.
Yeah, until you challenge everyone else.
Yeah, that's right.
So if I played Rob, I can't challenge Rob again until I've played Darren, Nick,
but
and
you
Mike.
can challenge me because I challenge
fairly
you.
Simple and straightforward system. A little bit too much for Darren. He just wanted to challenge Nick all the time. So I had to sort of have Nick challenge Darren because Darren challenged Nick twice, and for that way
just to make it easy, you just flip the challenge round. So yes, technically this is Nick challenging Darren as a sneak attack over territory number 3, which is a tech bazaar. So we won't give away quite who's won yet. We'll talk through the machinations of it.
This is another sort of Zone Mortalis board one, and I think they were using these more special long tiles from a different set, a different game system, but it's sort of gave them a similar board because we were playing at the same time, and Nick was on guard duty because he hadn't. Darren was the attacker. So Nick was defending. I think he had maybe some sentry posts here, and he had his guards set up or whatever. We can't really say too much about this because it's just very straightforward.
Yeah.
If your sentries cannot roll a 2+ to see a corpse grinder, as far away as Rob is me to you, if you can't see someone right in front of you and you're rolling ones and that person has close combat weapons,
it's not going to end well.
Darren was trying to be sneaky and be like, let's get ready for the perfect jump, the perfect track. And
that doesn't sound like Darren.
It's the perfect attack, right? And it's Nick can't see him, so he just walked him up right next to his people and just game over.
It was that simple.
Well, we were playing our game and they were just we're done.
Yeah.
Not much happened. And I hope, because I think you're having this was a sneak attack, and I think sneak attack is very similar to sabotage,
which I think is what Darren's challenging me in that round robin of challenges for round 3. He's challenging me to something very, very similar, whereby my gang is going to be on a sentry or defending position, and he is sneaking up to get me, which is very sensible from Darren's perspective.
I think he just rolled randomly for it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
And we'll move on now to the review of game number 10. So that's Birdie challenging Nick via an intelligence gathering over territory 14, a port. As you get the board set up for this, you can obviously you were present at this, so you feel free to comment on it to your heart's desire, sir.
This is a case of me choosing a mission because I think it's fun, not because I think I'm gonna. Wow. Well, look, right.
Well, who won this one?
Nick won it.
Nick won it.
So basically, intelligence gathering is a mission where you have to place a beacon in all 4 corners of the map. So, and it's I think it's maybe somewhere 6 inches, the corner of the map, and 1 in the centre. And the challenger, me, has to go do that. The defender, Nick, all he has to do is stop that happening. And when we're placing terrain, he placed a big tower in the middle with places to go out and almost cover.
You've drawn a little man on a laptop.
But it has basically a lot of high-placed terrain got deployed in this map. Surprise, surprise. And what he did, I sort of like, he's a shooting gang. If you're a shooting gang and someone has to come at you and do objectives,
stay on your towers and shoot them.
Stay in your towers and shoot, which I expected him to do, which he did do. So he set up in a sort of like very like all the high places, put his guys around and such. And I thought, right, I know this is sort of like a losing battle by doing this. I've given him he's a shooting gang who loves shooting, set up for shooting with heavy weapons. He's got like he had a heavy bolter here, like lots of shooting, and a grenade launcher pop and like do a lot of damage. They're both on top of the tower. It's like I've given myself the biggest uphill battle.
Why did you choose this?
Because I thought it was fun.
It was fun, yeah.
I was like, it's from the Delac missions.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, it's from the new Codicy.
Right,
so I thought I'll use that. That sounds fun or whatever. And I thought I'm gonna have a chance. I'll have a chance. This is stupid.
Did
but
you
I'll
have much of a chance?
So I did. I took it down to the wire. This is the match where Nick, so desperately wanting to win, was rolling dice to see if they could roll 5 or 6s, so he could then put it in the dice tower to roll a 5 or 6 because he was so desperate to
warming up his dice.
Warming up his dice. So
that's a thing, right?
Yeah. So I set up mostly. This is like a big tower, right? Big tower. Like it's like blocks a load of line of sight. And I was like, right, I'll set up most of my gang down here. There's a couple of people down here. And I got an infiltrator down here, and I was tempted to use my knackle to later on come on here.
Right.
This is why I chose it, because I thought, bang, 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 I can get all 4 points, and then I can circle him.
Right.
And I can take off people, and I can use my close combat people who run around at the back here, and all I have to do is stop his heavy bolter and his grenade launcher from being effective. That's why I'm going to use my long rifles, just shoot at them. My people who are good at shooting, my leader, just keep shooting them, keep them busy. Keep them pinned, keep them from doing stuff. Get my psyker who could make people wobbly and fall over. Keep them busy. The target is like just neutralise this and I'm fine.
Yeah.
It kind of worked. I was able to come in, took control of this building, I came down here, I was able to sort of like get my people out and start doing stuff. He brought a lot of reinforcements to take on my guy down here, who was like that really good sniper guy. He was down here on my own, and he was on his own. I couldn't reinforce him, sort of thing. And he drew a lot of attention. He never got the device planted because he was too busy trying to survive. But he did his job, kept Nick busy. The one problem I had is he had a shotgun guy who was super tough on this bridge here, and it stopped me from linking up my guys down here to here. I managed to get someone down here. But they were on their own by the time because I'd thrown so much into this sort of central area and down here.
It's just a question of too much ground to cover with too few men.
Yeah, basically. I did kind of what I wanted to do, which was just, I neutralised his heavy bolter. I can't remember if he fell off the tower and then hurt himself or something or ran out of ammo, and then this grenade launcher, I think I took him out and stuff like this. I really weakened him up. I battered him up a bit. But he had this shotgun guy I just couldn't take out. I had everyone concentrate fire. Him, my leader and everything. I threw people at him to keep him distracted. It could not break this guy. If I'd broken him, I could have linked up and then done my encircling plan and come in and taken this final tower. And I made some moves. He tried to come out, trying to get me. We had some close combat. He had some guys trying to retake this building, and I had my snake just pounce on it and kill it in close combat. It was crazy. It was like I've got 4 members of my gang out of action, as in on my roster where they're just
in recovery.
In recovery, that's it. I've got 4 guys in recovery.
Who are you fighting next?
Yeah. So it's just it was a huge battle, and it was a really good test of my gang, whereas it was just how much can I get away with? The guy who went up here was my squiddy fella, my tentacle fella with his long squiddy arms. And he's really good in close combat but has no shooting gun. So all he did was drew attention from all these guys up here. Just went they're shooting at him, and then it was I had to end the game because he had 4 wounds and he'd done nothing, and he was on his last wound, just trying to take this guy out of the tower, and he just could not reach. It was So you find close combat really scary as they inevitably come at you, and it's like I was trying to get this guy to close combat, and Nick just kept sort of running in backwards to this tower, and I just couldn't get him into close combat. Same here. I had my Nactical ready to pounce this guy, and I think I lost patience, and I went for it, and he had like a guy with like a blast template that's sort of like ready to back him up around here, and took him out. And I was just like, because I just got lost patience, and I just went, get into close combat. You've got like a 3+ armor save, you'll be fine. And he just like,
got blasted
out, and it was just, So I was, in the end, it was like, everyone was sort of down but my leader. I was sort of very lucky with my injury rolls that I had no one die. When I had, nothing too bad. A few people got injuries, and like I said, most of them I rolled into recovery.
Like you said earlier, you've got other fights to worry about. Yeah. You can't have. I mean, I know you took a heavy knock on this one in terms of available people next round, but you can't have your entire gang decimated over.
I know. So it was like, I gave myself an uphill battle. It was a stupid mission to take, but it was fun. Yeah, it was fun, and it was a challenge.
That's ultimately why we do it.
And it felt a more close run thing than I thought it would be. Maybe I thought I had a chance. I gave myself a chance, and I just couldn't close the deal. So there we go. That's game 10.
Game 10. Nick wins.
So that's the game. So where does that leave the territories? What's it done to the overall look of the Hive? Who owns what?
A good part of the Hive has been claimed, with all the territories have now been scouted. The leader being Darren, and his corpse grinders have 4 territories. And then over to gang rating, as in who has the most powerful rosters of characters.
Look, my gang is leading, Rob.
For now at least. Less than 100 points, though, between the top 3. It's Birdie's Ghost Syndicate, the Iron Blood Kings, that's Nick, and the Knights of Decimation, being Darren's Corpse Grinders. 100 points in the top 3. Plenty of more games to be played.
Last episode, we teased you of 3 criteria. I'm going to have to admit a mistake here. Gang rating isn't important. It's actually
as an in-game condition.
It's just it's not an in-game condition. Oh, right, there are 5 of them. One of them is wealth, which includes gang rating.
Okay.
So we'll cover wealth as well as the other criteria that we haven't done before, which is battle, kills, and reputation. So let's start with battles. Battles is easy enough. It's basically the amount of matches that you play. During the occupation phase, which is the first half of the campaign, though, we are running a round robin system where basically I challenge somebody, and then I can't challenge them until I've challenged everybody else. So I have to play everybody. I have to challenge everybody.
And have to be challenged by everyone.
And have to be challenged by everyone, and then it sort of resets. Yeah. We've had a little bit of a screw up with that
but we've fudged it.
With Nick and Darren. But although Nick kind of got robbed by having to play a match Darren wanted to play, it means that I've reset him 1 round early. So he gets to reset and choose who he wants to do early. So that might change things a little bit, but at the moment, doesn't make too much difference. It's going to make a difference and be really important in the takeover phase. It's the second half of the campaign. And what that means is that everyone is available to attack anyone. There is no restrictions. So it's going to be, if you've got really valuable territory, or you're holding someone in a choke point, or, then, and you're having to play lots of battles, well, you're going to be at the top of that list. And at the moment, it is just Nick and the Iron Blood Kings who've played 5, probably because of that error. Yeah. Or maybe it has worked out because Martin's only played 3 there at the moment. So, I think it's the takeover phase is going to be more important as we go on.
So expect us to analyse the criteria more when we reach that takeover phase. Next is wealth. Also, it's kind of straightforward. It's about who has the most money, which is sort of linked in with gang rating, as we said earlier. But this includes the value of your gang rating as well. So most players will have a wealth rating that's the same or similar to their gang rating, but I suppose it means that players who can stash credits will fare better, or maybe I'm looking sit at the top, 18-20 in terms of wealth. There's quite a big gulf between top and bottom there. But again, the top 3, within 100 points, 95 points separates top from third. Again, same guys, so it's Nick, Birdie and Darren, so I think there's definitely pace setters in the board at the minute, but it does look like you're no longer top there.
Moving on then. Kills. Next is kills. Rather than measure when a players are just unlucky to roll a D66 result of death.
Can be negated by going to the road dog.
Of course, exactly, can be negated, so it's a bit fiddly to sort of just go, oh, I killed you, but didn't kill you because you went to the road dog.
I think that's caused most of the confusion on the our campaign chat, really, isn't it? Of what constitutes a kill in terms of experience as well. But I think we've tried to make it so it's not quite so easy to obtain. You have to get that out of action at the moment of causing that wound.
Yeah, so it's rather than, what is your result? Is it a death result, which is was it
high 60s?
Yeah, it's high 60s. That's a 1 in 6 or something like that, and it's like you said, can be negated. In this campaign, we're measuring kills as when you hit somebody successfully, wound them, and take them out of action, all within that sort of one phase, that one turn, basically to sort of represent a lethality. How well can you just slice someone down there and then and take them out the game? This I thought was a bit more sort of like a useful metric rather than just, what's an injury result? That's a randomised result. Whereas there's more input to it. It's like the weapons you take, the skills that you have, and the ability of your fighters to just cut down someone more ruthlessly.
It's about the lethality of that character.
Yeah, exactly. It's how lethal are your characters, and how well can they just slice through the other team?
Well, watch my gang versus Nick. I mean, we could hit each other occasionally. We could wound each other even less occasionally than that. But all those injury results, flesh wounds and downs. So yeah, no kill XP for us.
I'm glad I took some of the stats there, because for every sort of 11 to 12 hits you did to someone, you got 4 wounds, which resulted in 1 out of action.
One in 12 then of successful
hits to out of action. Yeah, it's sort of like a 1 in 4 to wound, 1 in 4 to and that was the same for both you and Nick. For both your first out of action, you did almost the same stats for that. So maybe there's some theory. Like I said in the match video, maybe there's some theory crafting there that you have to just do enough hits, and eventually you'll get enough wounds, and then enough wounds will do enough damage to take someone out of action. But I think we're looking at here on our board, our table. There we go. Is that Darren's Knights of Decimation, who are Corpse Grinder cult, and they're incredibly close combat and terrifying, and thus so are way more efficient in killing characters. They're on 16. I'm going to guess
this little subtle change we've done in the kill XP criteria has kind of shifted the. Swang the pendulum into the close combat guys. You might suggest, although looking at the board, Nick and you, 2nd and 3rd, 13 and 12 respectively, but myself and, surprising really to see Martin solo down there, considering they're a close combat gang on that. But
I think Martin's just not had the best starts. He's had the least games. He's only had 3 games so far. So it might be down to him naturally just being a slow gang that can't get into close combat, and thus take advantage of that difference in close combat lethality.
Well, I can't imagine that number staying that long, to be honest.
Yeah, he's getting a lot tougher and harder to kill,
Absolutely.
and he'll get into close combat, I think, maybe a lot easier.
Eventually you'll have the armour to keep just marching forward into close combat. And So the last of those criteria that we mentioned is reputation. It acts as its own currency for how brave or successful your gang currently is. Hard to gain and easy to lose. Reputation is closely linked to how well you choose a mission and how well you can win. How often you can win, rather.
Yeah, it's interesting. Martin and his wrecking crew, I would just be saying, do so bad with lethality in games, but it has a massive reputation on 11.
Well, there's a good way to get rep other ways than just from winning from winning matches. You can gain rep in some other ways on some scenarios. So
yeah, well, he had a game, I think your game 5, where you did a shootout.
Yeah.
And that got him a massive
amount of
reputation.
I choked, or whatever the rule, the word is for shooting first in that slow march, and quick, finger on the trigger.
You didn't hold your nerve.
Hold the nerve. That's it. Yeah. So I lost that gained him rep rather than lost me rep, which was nice. And obviously he wiped the floor with me on that, so that gained a lot of rep. So yeah, in game 5, just like you are, but you're really struggling with that.
I am, I'm on the 2 at the moment.
You should do a show.
And I do have you left to challenge.
That'd be nice.
I'm not surprised Darren's up there as well.
His gang is just outstanding. It's really, really powerful.
He's only lost 1 match, and that was against me.
Yeah.
And
It was a close one as well.
Yeah, it was a very close one. And so, yeah, if you win matches, you're not going to lose rep. It's always like if you're getting bottles out, then you lose rep, and he's just not. That's rarely been happening for him, it seems. Yeah.
Well, so that's all the criteria for winning the campaign that we're doing. Each placing within each bracket will be weighed points wise, and the player with the most wins. So it's battles, kills, reputation, territory, and wealth.
Not gang rating,
no. Although wealth is similar to gang rating, so we'll call that. So, yeah. But with that, we come to the end of the episode, the end of round 2, on to round 3. It's been a long time between rounds. So,
it was cold. Remember that? It was winter.
Yeah, last time we had rounds, it was cold, yeah. So we're probably not going to have any fully recorded matches for round 3. We're going to just get straight into episode 3 of RBBN News. For the end of round 3.
Yeah, it's just to make sure that we are actually playing games, we are continuing the campaign, we're not having to stop artificially for me to do a lot of faffing about. It was a slow, long
old edit.
It was a tough one, and it broke me a little bit, so I'm just wanting to get back into it and get going, and hopefully I'll have a full match going for round 4. The first one will be match 16.
Yeah, I think we'll get the round robins of round 3 out of the way, and then pick something to record in round 4. So, with some good luck, we'll hopefully see you again soon on
Rezic Battle Bunker News.
Bye!